Well, Americans have already begun early voting, and many Israelis are following closely to see who the next president of the United States will be. Here to discuss with us is Professor Zachi Shalom of the Misgav Institute. Thank you so much for joining us today, Professor Shalom. To start, I want to ask you, what do you expect to see in this U.S. election? Do you anticipate a Trump victory or a Harris victory?
I think it would be irrational thing to try to predict it when all the ballots say that it's kind of equal voting. So I'm not going to put myself in a position to say who is going to win. What I'm worried about mostly is that the winning side will not win a devastating victory, and that there will be a kind of disagreement and an attempt by the one who was defeated to legitimize the other side. My point is that the main problem of the United States is not who is going to win, but actually if the other side will accept the outcome of the election. And the second question is whether he will try to upset the election by violent means. I think this is the main and critical issue for the United States, not only for the United States, but actually for the whole free world, including Israel.
Definitely, as we saw in the prior election, a challenge to the legitimacy of elections, which of course can be very, very dangerous, as you're correctly noting. I wanted to ask you, in the event that we do see Harris prevail, do you expect to see any kind of change in Israel's approach to the current war?
No, look, I belong to those who think that eventually the outcome of the election is not going to have really dramatic influence on Israel policy, especially in this war in Gaza and Lebanon. Eventually, when you look at what has been happening during the last year, there were ups and downs. Yeah, there were disagreements, there were embarrassing moments, things like that. But eventually, when you look at it from kind of historical point of view, you see that Israel has done actually what it wanted to do. The United States was opposed to the entrance of soldiers on the ground into Gaza, and we did it. They opposed the capture of hospitals, we did it. They opposed going into Rafah, we did it. They opposed our policy against Iran, and we are doing actually what we want to do. Eventually, I don't belong to those who think that there's going to be a dramatic change if it's going to be Trump or Harris. Eventually, it all depends on us, on our unity inside Israel, on our resilience, on our standing on what we want to do. This is my viewpoint.
Now, when it comes to the issue of the regime in Iran, we've seen strong statements from both Kamala Harris and former President Trump regarding the American response to the Islamic regime in Iran. Do you think that Israel will have the necessary support to deal with Iran regardless of who the next president is? Do you think that Trump or Harris will be strong enough when it comes to enforcement of sanctions or a potential nuclear deal in the future or not? Which president do you think perhaps would be better when it comes to putting down and stopping this regime and their funding of terror proxies?
Again, Madam, in my view, now it all depends on us. There is going to be a military clash with Iran. There is almost no doubt about it, and it all depends on the outcome of this clash. If Israel is going to blow a real strike on Iran, on its nuclear facilities, or its energy facilities, or on the government, it's going to put the whole Middle East in a different situation. I mean, the whole balance of power between Israel, the United States, and Iran is going to change. Eventually, if we succeed, the United States, any regime, Harris or Trump, will follow us. If, God forbid, we don't succeed, this is a different story. But the question now is in Israel's hands, in Israel's ability to carry out a very successful military operation against Iran. This is the whole issue, and it's going to be decided somewhere in this coming month, 1 month or two.
All right. Well, that is actually optimistic conversation here with you today at a time when, of course, you see Americans very much on one side or the other. So I appreciate your comments today. Thank you, Professor Shalom.
You're most welcome.